Hey guys, we're back at it again in Armory, and we have an interesting topic for you guys. All right, what is the topic?
So, the topic, or discussion rather, might be familiar to some, but it is God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called.
Ah, yes. So you could be unqualified, but because God called you, you are qualified.
Yes, He makes you qualified.
Wow. Interesting, interesting. Let's go into the word and find out about what does this mean.
Well, let me ask you, what if I'm not good at speaking, or I'm camera shy, and God calling me to preach, God calling me to evangelize,
Yeah,
God calling me to be a messenger or do a big work for Him?
yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah. Whether you're uncomfortable, you are still called.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that you is either you obey or you disobey and deal with the consequences.
And we all know which one is better to do.
Obey is better than sacrifice.
But in this instance, we could talk about Moses a little bit.
Yeah.
So Moses was known as a stutterer, right? He couldn't talk properly. And God called him. Did he make any excuses?
Yes, he made a lot of excuses. He talked about I can't talk properly.
So God said, okay, you can't talk well? I'll get a talker for you. Get your brother Aaron.
Right. So it means that you can't even make an excuse with God because even in your situation, even if it is that you are uncomfortable about something, God will use that and turn something around in order for you to still complete your task because He's calling you. Aaron was a better speaker, right? But he still called Moses.
No, we saying better speaker, but it could have just been that
He's
Aaron
able
could have
to
talk.
talk. He just could have talk, right?
So Moses was a stutterer and Aaron wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was able to properly transmit the message. Let's say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now, even though Aaron was the tongue, Aaron was the mouthpiece, who was receiving the messages?
It was still
Yes.
Moses, right? So God talked to Moses. And because Moses had that issue that he couldn't talk, he transmit that message to Aaron, and Aaron transmitted to whoever he
To the
needed
people.
to transmit it to until Moses was at that point where he could have transmitted for himself. And it's still Moses' call.
Yeah. So you mean that people could get put in place in our lives to help us answer the call of God?
Yes.
So it's like a positioning. People can be positioned in your life to help you accomplish your purpose then, or accomplish what God has called you for.
Yeah. Right? I will draw this example. You are in your workplace, right? Wherever you are, there is somebody that is helping you, developing you to go on to the next level. So when it is that you do go on to the next level, you have all the tools that you need in order to complete that task. And that was Aaron and Moses.
Well, I guess as you say that, what came to my mind is the fact that Moses grew up in the Egyptian's house.
Yes, he did.
So he knew the Egyptian ways and stuff like that.
He knew their customs.
He knew everything. So that was very intentional.
Yeah.
Right? And then he is the same people who have to go free the children of Israel from the Egyptians' captivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still, in his mind, he probably thinking he's not a person that could speak very well, right? Even though he had all like that exposure that he was in the house of the Egyptian, right? And he was exposed to all these different environments, and still his excuse was, I can't talk.
I just felt like I need to say this. If someone tell you that you're not qualified or you're not good enough to do this, Just know once you have the call of God in your life,
Yes.
you are qualified.
Yes.
With paper, with certificate, or not.
Yep.
You are qualified. No matter what skill you are in. So it's like if you are a janitor, if you are a teacher, if you are a truck driver, anything, any profession.
Once God called you, you're it, man. You're it. No matter what.
And answer the call. Don't run.
Don't
Don't
run.
run. I know somebody who tried to run.
All right. Okay, well, let me tell you a story.
I know are Usain Bolt.
Let me tell you a story. Right? So now this is my time to tell a story. Yeah, I know you are accustomed telling your stories.
I'm watching you.
All right? Okay. Right? So, well, my parents are pastors. Okay? And growing up in their environment, I get to see a lot of stuff. What a pastor go through, what it takes in order to be a pastor.
The commitment, the sacrifices.
Commitments, he sacrifices, every single thing. Right? And I got that call. Right? And when it is that I got that call, I was like, oh no, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And just like what they say, Usain Bolt, a bolt. Right? High or low, a jumping. Oh gosh, I going all over. I just didn't want to go in that place. But God called me. So it's like the Jonah situation, right? Where you know you get a call.
And you try to run.
You just run.
Yeah.
Right? And God put people in my life in order to talk to me and say, hey, how could you say you love God, but yet you're disobeying him? Right? And when I came to my senses, let me use that term. I came to my senses, right? And I just said, okay, God, hear what? I want to follow you, right? He used opportunities in order to develop me. Okay, so now I'm a worship leader. So I started off as a worship leader and I was able to dig my feet in the sand and cut my teeth, so to speak.
It basically was a form of preparation. Then.
It was a form of preparation.
Yeah.
And now I'm reaching to the point where I can freely speak in front of people. I could do the will of God because I was doing it as a worship leader. Now it's just a different form, a different setting. And now I'm feeling comfortable where I could freely say, hey, I'm doing the will of God and I'm answering the call.
Well, let's just say, I think that if God wasn't in your life, in our lives, there is no way we are able to do that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, go ahead. Did I cut into your story?
No. That was the end of my story. I just answered the call because I don't want anything happen.
It was just a matter of you finally answering the call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just being obedient.
Let me add this now. Why it is important to answer the call. Because your disobedience can cause people around you to be affected.
Yes. I agree
So
with
thank you for answering the call, but I'll get to that just now. When Jonah tried to run, he jumped on a boat, it had other people on the boat, but were they affected?
Yes, they were.
Of course they were affected.
Yes, they were.
For Jonah's disobedience.
Yeah.
Let's just say Jonah didn't get thrown overboard. What was going to happen with the people in the storm?
He was going to die.
They would have died. So just know that your disobedience have a reaction to the people around you.
Yeah. And now you have to be careful about all your actions because if you are not,
especially when you know it's a call from God.
Right. If you are not answering the call of God, right? And you try to do like what I did, I ran, and you're trying to do the opposite. If you go in any other situation, no, you have people that innocent around you, and you could possibly allow something negative or bad happen to them because you did not operate and answer the call of God.
Right. Which leads me to my other scenario, which is Abraham and Sarah.
Yeah.
When they went to different places, Abraham told Sarah, which is his wife, tell them that you are my sister.
Yeah.
And when the people who wanted to take Sarah for wife found out that she is Abraham's wife, Who you think got in trouble? They got in
They
trouble.
got in trouble.
Not Abraham, not Sarah.
Yeah.
They got in trouble and they say, listen, leave.
Yeah.
Take so and so and leave.
Yeah. And it's all because they had a custom, right? Whether you can't take a man's wife, right? So in those times, what they would have done, they would have tried to get rid of the husband so that the woman is then free in order to become the wife of the new person, right? Now, Abraham foresee this and he didn't want his life to get taken, so he lied, right? But what happened? When they committed that act and take Sarah to be his wife, to be their wife,
Innocently, yeah. They were
Innocently.
innocent. Yeah.
right?
They were the ones.
They were judged.
Yeah. Correct.
They were judged for that.
Yeah. And let me just say this, and I'm making it personal now. Thank you for answering the call of God on your life. Because you have a wife and you have 2 children. Let's just say you didn't answer the call. I wasn't taking no lightning strike for you. I
You're
wasn't going in.
Oh God, not me, Lord. Him, Lord.
Yeah. Like Adam and Eve is the wife. Listen, is this man?
Yes.
Know who you're striking, but it's just to say that understanding when the call of God is in your life, answer the call. Don't
Answer
put
it.
your family, don't put your friends, don't put your close people around you in trouble.
Answer it. And understand, you might not think that you are called, right? You are qualified to do this thing. But time and time again, God has proven that He is not looking for all the certificates and all the niceness and stuff. He's looking for the person who has the heart, right? And once He sees you and down the road, because He's not just looking at you now, He's seeing down the road, right? He will call you and say, hey, I need you.
The disciples, they came from different professions. Do you
Yeah.
think that they were
Yeah.
qualified to disciple
No,
other people?
let's go down that road, because the disciples, when Jesus called them, they were fishermen.
Yeah.
They were a tax collector.
Yeah. Oh gosh. What is
One
his
was
name?
a
The
zealot. Yeah. One was a zealot.
Yeah.
Right?
So they had different backgrounds.
Different backgrounds. And at that point in time, they did not understood
Ooh.
what will happen to them and what it will require of them to be disciples. All they did was just be obedient and say, yes, Jesus, you call me, I will follow you.
Answered the call, no matter what profession you are. If you are a janitor, if you're a teacher, if you are whatever, understand that you can receive the call of God in your life,
Yes, you can.
and God is going to equip you to fulfill it. He not going to leave you.
Yeah.
He not going to start something and leave you hanging.
Right. So let's go back to the disciples. When they answered the call and they was moving with Jesus, they then got the skill and they were
They
able to
were like
equip
OJTs.
themselves.
They were like on the job
They were
trainees.
OJTs, right? So when it is that they finish the training, right, they would then skill to do the work
Wow.
of God. So now they were able to, and this is what Jesus said, if it is that you see me do these amount of things,
Greater
you
you
will
will
be
do.
able to do more.
Yeah.
Right? So when Jesus left the earth, they were able to do the same thing. They were able to preach the gospel, heal. They were speaking in tongues. And they spread that gospel far and wide to the point where there is a Christian in every nation.
Yes.
They answered the call.
They answered the call.
But yet they weren't qualified at that point in time.
No.
But God called them and they were qualified by God's call.
So let's just say sometimes you may not have the paper, and by paper I mean certificate. You may not have the degree, the master's, the doctorate. Now, all of that is great. But you may not have that. But just understand that without the qualifications, God is going to qualify you. Just say yes.
But not saying we're not saying that we bashing on the degree
No,
and the
of
paper and
course.
stuff, because
Of course
all well
not.
and fine. Just like I said, when Jesus was with the disciples, they got the training while with Jesus.
Yes.
So they were able to develop
So-
themselves.
Which is why I said You may not have the equipments, but He is going to equip you.
He's still going to equip you. Yes.
He is going to equip you. I think all we need to do is you understand you have the call of God in your life. You say yes.
Yes. And it's just being obedient, Understanding that when you get that call, if you understand that you have that call in your life, just be obedient.
Mm-hmm.
Understand you might not know everything right now. But if you just be obedient 5 years, 10 years, a month, 6 months down the road, that's when you would understand the fullness of God's plan.
No, this might be heading in a different direction, but as you talk about the obedience, it reminded me of Abraham when God tell him, the son that I gave you, Isaac, go and sacrifice him. You don't think Abraham was worried? He went to sacrifice him, but you know what was the end plan? It had a ram caught in the ticket.
A ram ready for him to be
So
sacrificed.
while Abraham was going up this way, there was a ram organizing himself to go up this way. Let's just say, thank God that Abraham was obedient.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about obedience.
Yeah,
but I just felt
going down the line of obedience, and
I just
still
felt
there's a connection
moved
to
to
it.
say that. I felt moved to say that. That's you don't know what the end result might be.
Yeah, because no, you could see the sense of obedience in it, because when you get that call, just like I was running away, I just needed to be obedient. Every single character or disciples that we talk about, they were obedient. Just like Abraham that you talk about, he was obedient, right? So it's more or less understand when you are called by God. You may not understand everything, but just be obedient.
Yeah, I think God, when he sees us, he sees a vessel.
Yes.
He sees a vessel.
Yeah.
To be used.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. This was such an interesting discussion that we had, because most of the times we don't feel qualified. But do you think, seeing that you are heading along this path with Bible school and stuff like that, do you think that do you feel qualified?
I feel qualified now with Jesus.
I didn't know you was going to answer me directly. Of course, I was going to head to that. But we in our carnal selves, we feel so miserly, marasmy.
Yeah.
You feel unqualified, but with God, we are qualified.
Yes, we are. And you might not feel it right now. I'm talking to somebody, right? You might not feel it. But understand, if God calls you and you're feeling that promptness, that urge that you need to do this, understand that is God's call.
Yeah.
And that if you feel frightened or nervous, or you're thinking that you don't have the know-how, you don't have the education, that didn't matter to Jesus.
That's okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter to God. He just wants you to start. He wants you to do.
And again, I add in the scene because I feel moved to say it. Don't let your spiritual life be suffered because you are putting your secular life above it.
Yeah. Everything's supposed to be Jesus in it, eh?
I feel like sometimes we tend to do that. We tend to put our secular lives above our spiritual lives. But we will leave that for another topic.
Yeah.
We'll leave that for another day, another discussion.
Right.
Make sure that you answer the call. Make sure that you put Jesus first.
Yeah.
Make sure you put God first.
And know that you might not be qualified, but through Jesus Christ and through God, you are qualified. You are more than enough.
Yeah. I am qualified. I feel qualified because I have accepted Jesus. I have made myself open, and I say, God, listen, use me. I'll say yes. I wouldn't make an excuse. I'll try my best to do what you are asking me to do.
Now, that might require you to be that way in your workplace. It might require you to be that way in your social groups. But if you are answering the call, don't study the naysayers. Just answer. Just do the work of God.
And just like the disciples, they left everything behind
Left everything.
and they followed.
And they followed Jesus.
Yeah.
Go
Right,
strong.
Yeah.
Go strong.
So I think
You are qualified.
that's it. I think we cover everything that we probably should cover.
Yeah, and we're full.
Yeah.
We're full. We're full.
And
I am qualified. Hallelujah.
all right. So we hope that you guys enjoyed this little discussion. See you all in our next video.
Yeah. Later.
Right? Bye.
Bye.